Guys, I've just started recording. Okay, now go ahead. Go ahead. What is the question, Junaid? Mm-hmm. 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 If something is not in the application, you cannot add it. You cannot add it. That's plain and simple. If something is there in the application, then only you can automate it. If it is not there, you cannot automate it. You cannot interact with that. Okay, but let me tell you one thing. Sometimes, right? Sometimes, very rare situation, you might have to write some automation when the application is not there. Even the application is not there, but you will have to write your prototype automation. How will you do that, right? There is a descriptive programming concept. In that case, the application is not there, but they will be giving you the code. They will be giving you, okay, that object has an ID, that object has a name, okay? It is under this browser, it is under this page, and then you can write description. This is another concept. We'll be discussing that descriptive programming concept. Got it? Okay. If the object is not there, you cannot add it to your repository, but you can write description if you know the description of the object. Very simple. What is the answer? If the object is not there, we cannot interact with the object, we cannot add it to the repository, but we can write conceptual automation code by using descriptive programming if we know the description of the object. Conditional. If we know the description of the object, then we can write descriptive code. We cannot execute it, but we can try this code once the application is ready. Make sense? Once the application is ready, then we can try, okay, if my code is working. Okay, all right. So here, let me share and let me guys, let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay. Let me bring my UFT. Can you see my UFT screen? Okay. Let me open the script that we have automated during our last class. So I'll be adding more thing on that script. So here, guys, you have seen that when you record something, then you get lines of code in your script, right? First of all, you see lines of code in your coding area. Is that correct? Besides your code, you see these objects are being added to the local object repository. Two things. Can you confirm when you do recording, you see lines of code in your coding area, and also you see objects are being added to the local object repository. Now, can you tell me when you record, what do you see? Okay, I want to hear from any of you. The question is, when you record, what do you see? Code area and the objects are local object repository, right? Your code, when your code runs, right? When your code runs, it gets the object description from local object repository. You understand what is the relation? What is the relation between this local object repository and your code? Who can explain better the relation between local object repository and your code? Can anyone explain better the relation between local object repository and your code? Go ahead. Manjima, you go ahead. Mhm. Right. So that means when you run your code, right, it, to interact with the object in the application, it gets all the yeah, the object will have to be in the object repository, and it gets all the details like how it is identifying that object, right? All the details it gets from the object repository. Okay, so this is a relation between object repository and your code. Okay, now yesterday during our last class we have added a couple of checkpoints. So what is the purpose of using checkpoints in UFT? So yeah, to checkpoint by the name, you can assume that checkpoint by the checkpoint we check if a particular object is present in the screen, or we check a particular attribute is present in the screen. So that's what is the purpose of using object repository. Okay, all right. So here now let me move forward with our discussion. So the relation, look, can you see this OK button? This OK button, right? This OK button here, there is a window and then there is a WPF button, right? Now if you go to your local object repository, and then you will see that in your local object repository, can you see this OK button? OK button. Okay. Now can you see text OK? Dev name OK button, right? So these are the attribute. Can you see text OK, dev name OK, OK button? These two attribute it is using to identify that object. These two, now let me tell you, so these two object, these two attribute it is using to identify this object. Now let me show you what is happening. You will see the relation. You will see the relation now. So before I have these two, I have these two. Javed, what is that image? Okay, that's fine. So now I'm going to go to my, if you run your code right at the moment, you will see that it will be highlighting the OK button and it will be doing whatever it's supposed to do. It will be doing it. Guys, can you see it was able to highlight the OK button? And then it has clicked on that OK button. Now it is saying, okay, the user ID is not correct, right? So let me just do something. Let me stop this execution. Now I'm going to go to my repository and notice what I'm doing. To show you the relation between this object repository and your code. So I'm going to go to this repository and then this OK button, right? Which one is that OK button? This is the OK button. Is it the OK button for, I know that we have two OK button, right? One is, yeah, login field. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, inside the login field, we have a OK button. We are not talking about that OK button. We are talking about this OK button. Now I'm saying that when it is identifying that object, it is using these two attribute for identifying that object. Now what I'm going to do here, right? I'm going to delete. Can you see I'm going to delete this? And can you see this dev name? I'm going to delete this one as well. And now let me run the code. Now you notice what happens. Now you'll see there will be an error message here. Now you'll see there will be, you're right, Javed, you will see there will be something that interesting comes now. After a certain time it will show an error message. Yeah, you'll see. Let's take a look what error message it brings. If you see this bar here running, that means it is running. Now you see the error message, right? Cannot find the OK objects parent. Like now, guys, now you tell me what happened. So remember, let me give you an example. Let's say you are going to a very new place, right? Now you have a map that you are following. By the map, in the, let's say that you are going to a new place, you have an address in your notebook, right? If you have the address, you can follow GPS or any other way to reach there, right? If you do not have an address, then you will be walking day and night, then we will not be able to reach your destination. Is that correct? If you have an address in your notebook, then by asking people or by following a GPS map or by doing some effort, you can reach there. But if you do not have an address, then what? You are working, you are not getting anything. So like here, when we are identifying that OK button, guys, when we are identifying that OK button, we remove that address. Now, remember, where was that address? The address was in the object repository. Where was that address, guys? Where was that address? The address was written in the repository, local object repository. Now the address is removed, right? Now it is intelligent. It will not be working for the whole day. If it keeps working for the whole day, then what we will do, right? We will have to keep waiting for him, right? So it is not waiting for the whole day. It is not working, abandonedly for the whole day. Instead, after a certain time, it is saying that, no, I cannot identify that object. The address is not there in the object repository. Make sense? Any question? You understand now? Although you see, your code is there. Your code is as it is. We didn't change anything in the code, but it is not able to identify that object. Why? Because we have removed the address from the repository. Now you understand what is the relation between this object repository and your code. Guys, when you record, then only the object goes to your local object repository, and you can, if you add anything manually, like you saw that we have added object manually, right? Then it will be going to your local object repository. Got it, guys? Make sense? Automatically. Yeah, it will automatically generate the local object repository. it will be automatically in the local object repository. Right. Now you got, Junaid, you got your relationship between your yeah, you got your relation, or you have further question? Okay, so what about others, Manjiba? Yeah, so the question is, now you got like the relation between your local object repository code. You got it, right? Junaid? Sorry, Rachel? Okay, very good. Now, so now we have damaged our code. So what we will have to do? What we will have to do to make it working? Guys, now go to your local. Now this OK, this OK button is not good anymore, right? So we can do two things. We can remove this OK button and add it again. Okay, and then we can do one other thing, guys. This is important, you understand this, guys. So we can do two things. One is we can actually we can do three things, guys. We can do three things to make it working again. Number one, we can remove this object. We can remove this object and add it. Okay. Number two, we can do, see, can you see this little guy here? No, not this. Can you see this little guy here? Update from application. Can you see, everyone? Can you see this update from application? Everyone, can you see this? Who cannot see it? Manjima? Okay, very good. Now, I'm going to click on this, right? Can you see? Actually, cancel it. I'm going to click on this. First, I'm selecting this object, okay? First, I'm selecting this object. Yeah, which one we are going to update. And then I'm going to select this update from application, and then I'm going to click. And then I'm going to say, now at the moment, can you see what are the attribute? Can you see what are the attribute you see here? Look in this section, value. Do you see anything in the value section? No. Now you click OK. Now can you see dev name, text, again there? You understand this, what I did? Okay. Now if you run it one more time, now you'll see that your code is working. Good? Up to this good? We are good? Yeah, we'll go there. We have a lot of other things. We'll go there, Javed. Okay, now, so I have discussed two ways. One is you remove this object and add it back. Number two, you update from application. So this update from application is important. Why? Because let's say that when you are working on an application, right? So developers are continuously modifying the application. So you have, let's say, few months ago when you have recorded this object, it has a name. If you go to your local object repository, it has names for this OK button, right? It has name, let's say, OK button. But in the recent deployment, in the recent release, they have changed this name. Developers have changed this name. Instead of OK button, they put it, let's say, okay, sign in button. Let's say they put it sign in button. So in this case, your code will not be working, right? So what you will have to do, update from application. You come here. Yeah, it will be showing the sign. Because you are not adding another object. If you add another object, if you keep adding objects to your repository will be so big, and at one point your code will be slow. So that's why you update the existing object. Does it make sense? So you understand, guys? Any further question on this? Okay, very good, very good. Now let's go for the further discussion. So another thing that I wanted to discuss, let's say that this object is not there. I'm going to delete it from the repository. Now will it work? It will not work. Now I'm going to show you how you can write description. How you can write description. Instead of adding it to the repository, you will be able to write the description of this object. Make sense, guys? So now you will be able to write the description of this object. I'll show you how you can write the description of this object. So for example, how will you write the description, right? So you go there. Can you see this? Can you see this object spy? Can you see this, everyone? The object spy is here, and also you will see the object spy here. Can you see the object spy is here as well? So you can use it from anywhere. You take this object spy, take this pointer, and then move. How will you move this pointer? If you press Ctrl and move your cursor, you will be able to move it. Now, so actually this is not the OK button. So this is the one, right? Yeah. Now you click upon it. Okay. Now again, let me start to show you guys. You have to do it. Now you put your cursor. You put your cursor here, object spy. Then move it a little aside and take your pointer. Click OK. Now you have, can you see, what do you see? You see two things. One is that button itself and the parent of this button. What do you see, guys? Two things. One is the parent of this button, another one is this OK button. So what do? Click on this parent of this object, and can you see this? Copy the identification properties. Can you see this? Copy the identification properties. Okay, now you click on it, and then you open a notepad. Here you open a notepad. Got it? And then, so this is for the parent, right? So this is the identification for the parent. Now we are going to bring the identification for the button. Now you go there in the object spy again and click on that object button and click on copy again, and then you come here and then you paste it here. You got it, guys? Is it clear? Okay, all right. So now what you do, you go to your, can you see this? Can you see this class name? Yeah, copy this class name. Can you see what I'm doing? Copy this class name and in VB scripting, this is the OK button, right? In VB scripting, do you know how you comment out? You put this. That is how you comment out, okay? Yeah. You know that beside enter button, you have the key, you press on it. Now, we have copied that class name from there. We have copied this, right? Now you go to your code, you paste it. You provide this. You provide this this pair of bracket, and then you put a dot. And then you go to that notepad again. What is the class name for this object? WPF button. You go there. So this button is under its parent, right? You put this. Okay. Now this WPF window, right? You go to your description. Now you see that it has a class name, right? It has a dev name, right? Can you see this? So use any of it, class name or dev name, see if it works. What you do, you copy from here to here. Guys, can you see what I'm doing? Copy. Yeah, copy and paste it here. Okay. Yeah. Description. When you write description, that is what we are calling descriptive programming. Then you go there for this WPF button. Now you find out an attribute. Can you see? Dev name, OK button, dev name, OK button, dev name path, OK button, right? You copy any of it. Can you see this class name? You can use the class name as well. But I'm going to use this dev name. Yeah. Up to this, right? You copy it. Yeah, yeah. Whichever works. Let's say I'm using dev name. If dev name doesn't work, then I'll be going for another one. Okay. Now you do a highlight on it. Dot highlight, and then you copy this, and here you add another line, put a click. Now you run your code again. Okay, so was it able to highlight? Right? So you understand even Junaid, to answer your question that you have asked, if the object is not there, right, then developers will be giving you the description of the object. The description of the object, then only you can write your code. You got it? You will get your description somewhere in a document, in a Word document or somewhere. From there you will be writing your code. Okay. No, we didn't use it like here. We did it descriptive programming for that OK button. We didn't use anything from the repository for this OK button. You got it? Make sense, guys? Okay. Rachel, you understood descriptive programming? Yeah. We manually added the code for that object. Sure. Let me stop this local object repository, right? Okay. The OK button is no longer there. This description of that, yeah, descriptive programming. Yeah, we have written descriptive programming for that particular object. Okay, now guys, now now you understand the purpose of local object repository, right? Okay, now I'm going to bring another concept, shared object repository. Now the local object repository, right? Let's say you have written a script. Guys, try to understand this. Let's say you have written a script and then your script is done, right? In a typical application, you have hundreds of scripts. Do you understand this? When you are writing another script, you will be opening another test, right? File, new test, correct? Now, if you add your object to this local object repository, then you cannot use this object in your other test. You will have to add these objects again in your other test. So the disadvantage of using this local object repository is, let's say this test is done, right? Whatever you have done in this test, you cannot reuse these objects in another test. No, you cannot reuse this code. If you write it in that way, you cannot. If your objects are in the local object repository, then you cannot reuse those objects in another test. Okay. This is the disadvantage using local object repository. So what you will have to do? You will have to start adding your object in the shared object repository. So what is the solution? The solution is you will have to start adding your objects in the shared object repository. Make sense? Yeah, that is what. And in UFT, where is your execution starts? Your execution starts from in UFT, your execution starts from action 1. Where does your execution starts? Action 1. Okay. Now, can you see this checkpoint? You understand this checkpoint, right? These checkpoints, like standard checkpoints, we check particular attribute, and in text checkpoint, we look for text, right? Now let me remove this checkpoint from here. Okay. And then if you go to your action, let me see. These checkpoints, right? These two checkpoints, I'm going to remove this because we have removed those checkpoints from there, right? So I'm going to remove the corresponding code as well. I'm removing corresponding code for this checkpoint. Now, okay. So now if you run your code, let me remove this breakpoint and run your code. Okay, so our code is executed how many times? Yeah, our code is executed 2 times. Now if you take a look, the result here, right? Can you see iteration row 1 and iteration row 2? right? Now if you go to your action and if you look at your data, this is bad data, this is good data, right? So for your bad data, your test should be failing. For your bad data, your test should be failing. But do you see, if you look at the results, do you see any failure? No, you do not see any failure. So now, if you look here in your code, if you see login failed exist, if you see login failed exist, and then you are waiting up to 5 seconds for that login failed exist, then you are coming here, giving a message, login failed, right? You are giving, if you look at your output, it has given a message login failed, it has highlighted, it has clicked on that OK button from there, right? But you now you need to fail you, if you need to fail your test, besides giving this message, you need to fail your test, right? So how will you fail your test here, right? Understand this. So what you do, if you need to fail your test for something, understand this, it is very important. You add reporter dot, can you see report event, and then can you see might fail, and then yeah, and then put a message, okay, let's say login failed, and then you put another message here, login failed, let's say bad credential. Got it? Now if you run it one more time, okay, now can you see that we have two iteration, right guys? One iteration failed here, login failed, right? If you click on this, you will see that, can you see run error, login failed, and description bad credential. So what is the login failed? Bad credential, one iteration failed and another iteration passed. You understand, now you understand what is the purpose of using reporter.report event. So if you need to fail your test case for any reason, then you use this reporter.report event. Yeah, show the message, and you know, if you want to make your test case fail, then you do this. Okay, understood everyone? Okay, now guys, let's say that you saw that what was the purpose of doing this parameterization. If we have a scenario where we need to run the test case for a set of data, right, for different set of data, then we did it. Okay, now remember that guys, remember that one thing, if you need to reuse your code, right, if you need to reuse your code, remember reusing the code is very important. Why reusing the code is very important? Because you are writing one test case here, this opening application login, you may have to use it for another test case. For another test case, you do not want to write this login process again. Is that correct? You understand this? Who do not understand this? Like when you are writing another script, you do not want to write this code. You just want to reuse the code, right? Now if the code is in your action, it is difficult to use it. So now I'm going to show you another concept before I go to shared object repository, guys. Before I go to shared object repository, I'm going to bring function library. Remember that in Java you have created object method repository, method library, right? Yeah, in Java, what did you do? In Java you have created method repository, correct? Here we are going to create function library. Guys, this is an important concept. Try to understand this. So what I'm going to do now, you'll see that I'm going to transform this whole code. You'll see that this action will be looking very nice. It will be looking like, very nice looking action. So I'm going to show you how I can do that. So what do you do, guys? Here, can you see this is your test, right? Right click on it and add. Can you see? Not from here, not from here. Go to resource, and then no, not from here. One second, guys. So here in your action, if you not in action, this actually you'll have to go to your solution level. Okay, right click, add. Now can you see add new function library? Can you see, guys? Add new function library. Who cannot see it? Add new function library. Who cannot see it? Everyone, right? Okay. So I'm going to click on this add function library. Okay. Now remember, when you are adding a function library, right? Do not add it wherever it is pointing. Do not add it there. Then you will lose it. Later on you will not be able to find it out. Where remember, the purpose of adding this function library is to so that later on you can reuse it, right? And if you save it somewhere you do not know, later on when you are trying to reuse it, you will not be able to find it. So wherever it is pointing, do not save it there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to my C drive, and can you see I have inside my C drive. Inside my C drive, you will see that. Let me. Yeah. So I guess that I have if you select here, I have a file. Okay. Let me create a file here. Actually, it's better you use it. Remember that, guys, when you have your UFT expired, then this virtual machine you will have to replace, right? When you have replaced, whatever you have in your C drive will be gone. So it is better you have a shared drive, right? You add it in your shared drive. I have already a folder UFT, so I'm going to add it there. Inside there, I'm going to create a folder UFT resources. Any question? Okay. Inside there, I'm going to name it as flight GUI. Actually, let me give a flight app function library. Does it make sense to you? Create. Okay, I have added this function library. Basically, can you see this function library here? Now you can write function. Remember, in Java you have written method. Here we are calling it as function. How do you write function? If you put func and press space, can you see, guys? Can you see? Now I'm going to write a function for close application. Close application. And then from your action, I'm going to, yeah, I'm recording by. I'm going to take this closing application code and I'm going to put it here. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this function name and I'm going to put it here in the action. Okay, and then I have another function for opening application. I'm going to take it from here. I'm going to go to my function library and I'm going to write another function. So this function is for what? I'm going to put a comment here for close any open instance of flight application. Okay, this function is written by whom? Written by, let's say, XYZ. Let me put my name. And what is the date? You put a date here. What is the date today? Right? Yeah. So this is a function. I provided a description of the function. Now I'm going to write another function. Right? Another function. What function I'm going to write is, I'm going to say func, and then what will be the name of that function? Open application. Okay, open application. Now for opening application, I already have copied the code from there, right? And I'm going to copy this description. What is that description about? What is that function about? I'm writing a description of this function because whoever wants to reuse this, let's say if you are working in a team, guys, then your another team member will be using your function. Some of the function will be really complicated. So that's why you want to put a description, right? You want to put a description of the function, what it does. Open instance application, and you want to put your name so that if someone do not understand your code, they can come and ask you a question rather than waiting. Hey, have you written this? Asking another member, have you written this method? I do not understand this. Can you give me a little bit explanation? And he'll say, no, I didn't write it. And then he'll say, do you know who write it? So, another person. So that's why you want to put your name here, right? So that people can directly come to you and ask you a question regarding your method. Because the whole purpose of doing this is code reusability, and who will be reusing the code? Your other team members. And you want to keep enough clue for your team members for this method. Okay, so that's why I'm writing this block here. Okay, now I need to bring this block in your action, because remember, if it is not in your action, it will not work. Okay, then what I'm doing, I'm interacting with the agent name object, right? So I'm going to copy this agent name block, okay, and then put it in a method there. Input agent name, okay, and then here you put the code. Now what is the purpose? You write the description. So here input agent name, and you have your code, right? Now you align the code. Remember, code alignment is another art. You want to follow that art in your code. You do not want to keep your code in a way so that it is hard to understand and hard to debug. So now you bring this here, okay, and then your password, right? So you take the password block, Guys, let me know if it is becoming difficult for you. Oh, I didn't write a function, right? So remember that I'll have to write a function. Now from there I'll be taking the code, whole block of code. Oh, I'll have to give the function name first, right? So what is the function name here? Input password. Password. Here you will have to press enter first and then you align your code. Okay, input password, and I'm not going to write this description, it is wasting time, so you make sure that you are writing your description. It's a good habit. Okay, and then you call your method input password. Why didn't cut it? Okay. Input password, and then what is that? Highlight, right? Take out this code. Yeah, we need to call it from action 1. Otherwise, it will not be used. Otherwise, it is worthless. Verify cancel button, you put the code here. Okay, and then call this verify cancel button. Then what? Then that OK button, right? I'm going to take this description. Another function, click on OK button. I didn't click enter. Okay, guys, is it becoming a boring session? Okay, let me know if it becomes boring. I'll try to make it more interactive. Then you come here, verify if login is successful or not, right? You take it there. I do not need this block. I do not need this wait button. Now you go there, function verify login. You put the code here. Make sure that your code is properly aligned. How will you align your code? You put it in that way, and inside if, right, your code will be one tab inside. Now it looks better, right? You write your code in that way. Now you take this verify login in your action. Okay, the last thing is closing the application. I'll have to write one more method. Function close application. Okay, and then bring that code. Okay. Yeah, end if, because you have a if, you have to have a end if. Yeah. Okay, now you tell me how is your action looks like. And how beautiful it is. It's simple. Very good. I'll go there, but first tell me how beautiful it is to understand. Very beautiful, right? Yeah, writing a method. Over there in Selenium, you have to create an object and then all of this stuff. Here, it is straightforward. You write the method and call it. You write the method and call it. And if you give a meaningful name, everyone will understand what you are doing. Close application, open application, input as a name, right? If you, they do not have to go this deeper stuff, right? Now, let me run it. So I hope you understood this up to this part, right? So now if I go there and run it, so now can you see it is saying type mismatch, close application, right? Type mismatch, it is not getting that function library. So guys, what if you have written a function library, right? Remember, guys, remember, this is your test, this is your solution, right? This is your solution. You right click here, add, and then can you see associate function library? Click on it, and where is your function library? You go there in your, yeah, it is in your main C drive. You go there, where is my, this one, right? Yeah, UFT and UFT resources. This is my library, right? You have to, can you see now it is under this test? Previously it was outside of that test. Let me remove it from there. You got it? What I did, I click on the right click on this test and add associate function library. You have to do that, guys. Now if you run it, all right, let me see what happens. So it is saying that cannot identify the object microfocus my flight name sample of class window. Verify that the object matches an object description, right? Can you see this this close, right? This dot close, it is saying that microfocus my flight sample, it is not able to. So basically it has came to the last one. Let's see what is happening. There are something wrong. Let me see action. Yeah, close application. I have, okay, same thing I have twice. Guys, I've made a mistake here. Can you see this close application function? How many times I have written it? I have written this function twice, right? So I'll have to name it one, this one, right? I'll have to close application. Let's say here in the first close application, right? In the first close application, what we are doing? We are closing the process. In the second close application, what we are doing? We are clicking on the cross button in the application, right? So instead of close application, you say click on close button. Now you go there. You instead of at the end, instead of calling close application, you do this. Now you run it again. Guys, can you see what is happening? Now cancel. After that, verify login. What is happening now? Oh, it is not going in. Why? It is not going in, right? What is happening, guys? Login successful in both cases. What is happening? Tell me guys, what is happening? Like, I'm not saying, it is saying that login successful. How? Verify login, if I go there, verify login, it is saying that login is successful. How? So it is looking for login failed, and then it is not getting the login failed, and then it is saying that login successful. What happened then? Let me run it again. I think I'm missing something, guys. You help me. I need your help. Let me see who can help me. I really need your help here. Something is wrong here. See what is happening. So what is happening? I need your help from anyone. Basically, I'm lost here. I'm totally lost here. Need your help. Let me run it again. So it is interacting with the user ID, password, cancel, and then what? It is interacting with the cancel. Hmm? Even with the good credential, did it click on OK button? Let me run it again. You guys need to help me on this. Really, I'm lost here. You need to help me. It is not clicking for the OK. Are you sure? The problem is with OK button. What is the problem with OK button? Why it is not clicking? So what is happening? We have it. OK button click. We have it here, right? Here. Yeah. You click on OK button. We have the function. Why it is not clicking on it? What? Hmm? So, but it was working. It was. What is that? But in the local object repository, it is not an issue, because in the local object repository, when we have written description, right? So when we have written description, we do not need it in the local object repository. It was working, but why it is not working now? Okay. Okay. This. Hmm? Oh, it is not called. Oh, before verify login we'll have to call that method, right? Yeah, that is what I wanted to hear. Yeah, we missed that. Intentionally or unintentionally we have missed that. We didn't call that, and that is why it is not able to click on it. You got it? Now if you run it, let me clear the output. Now if you run it, now it is interacting with the OK button, right? Good. Understood, everyone? Now it is one iteration, it's supposed to be failing, it is showing failed. Yep. Correct. So here, guys, can you see what is happening? Now, let's say that this test is done. But before we are done with this test, we are going to do one more thing. Can you see input agent name? Guys, can you see this input agent name? Here this input agent name, right? What are we inputting? This, right? You understand this? Yeah, I'm going to cut this and I'm going to put this here. That means when I'm calling this method, I'm passing a data. Okay, what data? I'm passing the data from the global data sheet. I'm passing the data from the global data sheet. Now when I'm passing this data, I will have to have something here to receive it. So you put str user name. Now you put this username here. Okay, so when I'm calling from here, right, I'm passing this from data table, and then it is coming here on this variable, and then I'm putting it here. And then same thing, this one, right, password, I'm going to pass it from there, and then in the function library I'm going to say str password, and then I'm going to put it set secure here. Now let me put a breakpoint here, guys. Actually, you can put anything. This is a string, that's why I'm putting str. Yeah, like you can put anything, you can put any word, just I'm giving a variable name. So let's say if you put username, right, you will have to use here username. It's a variable. Let's say that when you drink water, I give this common example. When you drink water, what do? From your refrigerator or from a jug, you put the water on a cup or on a glass, right, and then you drink it. So when we are calling this method, we are passing a data, and this data is coming in this container, in this glass, and then I am drinking it here. Make sense, guys? Okay, I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Okay, now you run the code. Oh yeah, you are right. Yeah, it will be, good catch. It will be here. It will be here. Okay. Now let me run it one more time. I'm putting this parameter. There is a purpose, guys. I'll tell you. There is everything has a purpose. Yeah. Yeah, everything has a purpose. I put it, instead of using it in that way, I put it as a parameter. It is a learning thing, how you can pass value when you are running a code, how you can pass value from your action to your function library. Okay, now can you see from there, when you have called this method, you have passed from data table. If you take a look, data, can you see this is black? That means this data is in use, the first line. Can you see the first line is highlighted? That means the first line is in use now. So from here we are passing, can you see, if you right click and add to watch, can you see what are we passing now? Test user 1. And now if you go to your function library, right, where is your function library? This, right? Now if you watch your this variable, what should I have in this variable? Who can tell me? I should have this user, right? You understand? So now it is going to input that user ID in the text box. Okay. So now if you see, if you go to your data table, we are working with the first line. Is that correct? And then here from your action, you are calling this method input password. When you are calling this method, what are you passing? Data table password. From global sheet, you are passing the password value. What do you have in the password value? Where do you have? Can you see password 123? Can you see that is what you are passing? Now, if you come to your function library, if you right click on this str password, and if you watch, can you see you have password 123? That is what I'm trying to explain. Now if you run it, it will be inputting that password there, and then it will be verifying that cancel. It will be clicking OK, and then it will be done for that iteration. Now we are on the second iteration, right? Now if you take a look in the data, where is our focus? Line number. That means it is working with line number 2. Now this input agent name method is called. So when you have called input agent name, you have passed this data table, this global data sheet, right? You have passed, when you have called this method, what did you pass? User ID, right? So what do you have in the user ID column? John, right? You will see that it will be inputting John there. Yeah. Now it will be inputting the password. It will be inputting the password, and then it will be clicking OK, and then okay. Okay, now tell me, guys, tell me if you are understanding it, because you have to do it in your home. You have to do it. If you do not do it, then it doesn't make sense. The concept will never be clear. The concept. Okay, definitely I can show you one more time, and however many times it requires, but it's very important that we are understanding it. If you do not understand it, come up with question. Let me show you one more time. Okay, so let's say I'm not passing this data table value. Instead, I've commented out that part. I'm passing, let's say, Junaid. Okay, and then I'm not passing the value from data table. I'm passing password as Junaid 123. Got it? You understand what I modified here? Now let me put a breakpoint here. Let me run it. Okay, the application is open, right? Now, if you go to your function library, now if you watch this username, add to watch. Let me remove all of the watch, whatever I have here. Now let me watch it again. Now, do you have any value at the moment in the username variable? No, because you didn't make the call from here. Line number 4, you are making the call. Now, once I will execute line number 4, right? Now, can you see, now we are in the function. Now, can you see in the username we have Junaid? It is like you are pouring water to your cup to drink it. Function class. Now water is in your cup. Now you drink it. In the month of Ramadan, no, you cannot drink it, but the water is in the cup, right? So you pour the water from action, and the water is now in the cup, in the username cup. Now, yeah, now I'm going to use that water. Right? Can you see? Now I have input Junaid here. You got it? Now I'm going back to action. Now I'm calling function input password. You got it? Yeah. If you do not use global sheet, you hard code the value here. Yeah. Now if you go back to that function library again, if you watch this password, do I have anything in the password? Yeah. Now we are making the call from action. Right? Now you see Junaid 123 in your password. Right? It is now is going to highlight the password text box. Now it is going to set the password. Which button to see the value? Oh, I just add to watch. Right click on this is the variable, right? Right click and add to watch. Got it? Okay. Now, if you see, now it is going there and execute everything for us. Okay. What is that? Click on view icon. Okay. Oh, it's step into. Like when you click this, it will be, yeah, it will be going to, can you see it is going inside your method? It is going step by step. Remember we debug in right? Okay. Same thing. Verify login. Now it will be going into the login. Can you see how I am executing step by step? Click on close. Now if you go in that way, you will be able to see how each of the line is being executed. Now it has started another iteration. Why? Because in the data table, how many rows you have? In the data table, no, it's Junaid123 is your password. Junaid is your username. But in the data sheet, if you go to your data sheet, remember in the global data sheet how many lines you have. Although you are not using this data, but however many rows you have, it will be executing that many times. Yeah, that's why it is executing twice. In the global sheet, then it will be executing only once, only one time. Make sense, guys? Right now we have it two times, so that's why it is executing two times. If you do not have it anything in the global data sheet, if you click replay, it will be executing only once. But if you have data in the global data sheet, it will be executing however many times you have, it will be executing that many times. It will be executing 4 times. Yeah. Okay. So guys, I'm recording this session, and for you to understand, it is very important you go through the recording last class, whatever we did. You go through this. If you do not go through this parameterization part, it will be hard to understand for you. Okay. Now, guys, you understood, right? You understood what we did up to this, right? Now, let me tell you one thing. Can you see, if you open this local object repository, right? Now, can you see there is a file button here? And can you see that you can export local objects? You say export local object and you give a name, object repository. Remember, I said if your objects are in the local object repository, then you cannot reuse it in your another test. But if you have exported your objects to a, now can you see I'm exporting these objects to a shared object repository. Whatever objects I have here, I'm exporting it to a repository. Does it make sense to you? Whatever object I have in this local object repository, I am exporting it to a, I'm giving the name shared object repository and I'm creating it. Now, let me close this. Close solution. Yes, I have to save it. Now, let's say now you are creating test case 2. File, new, test, and name it as test case 2. I'm going to save it in the, not here, I'm going to save it in this shared place, UFT. I'm going to name it test case 2, select to and from, actually I'm going to name test case 2 book flight. Okay, now remember we have a function library we have created. I'm not going to write all of these functions again. So what I am going to do here is, can you see this is my test? I'm going to right click here, add associate function library, and what is the name of, can you see flight app function library? I'm going to bring that function library. Now all of the functions are here, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to call them just yeah. I need this login, open application, close any open application, opened application. I need this open application, right? And then I need this input agent input agent name. Yeah, I'm going to use the valid user ID here. What is that valid user ID? John. Okay, and then the next one is what is the valid password? Right, and then we are going to click on OK button. We do not want to verify cancel now. Remember, whatever you need, you are only calling only those method. Yeah, and then you have to verify your login. Yeah, we are just verifying login. If the login is passing or failing. Now, our login, up to login is what we need, right? And then once we are logged in successfully, we can interact with the other objects. Is that correct? Now you run it. Can you see what is happening? Can someone read the message for me? Okay, read the whole message. What is that? So what does it mean? So what is happening? You tell me, like it's clearly it is clearly showing that it is not getting the object. So okay, so what is happening here is, guys, very clear. We have added the code, but this code is using the object repository. Remember, this code is using the object repository. We do not have those objects here. We do not have the objects here. So so here in the, you'll see every test will have a local object repository, but we do not have anything in the local object repository. Remember that local object repository is local for that other test. We cannot use it here. That's why we exported the object to a shared object repository, right? Remember, right? So what we are going to do now, we are going to click on action and right click, associate repository with action, and what can you see, the shared object repository? You bring it here, say yes. Okay, now you run it and you will see that you do not see that type of issue again. Those shared object repository, we brought it, yeah, we added here. That's why we created that shared object repository. You got it? Clear? Right click on action 1 and brought that object repository. Now let me show you. This is the shared object repository, right? You open the shared object repository. Can you see there is a enable editing? Click on enable editing. Okay, and then click on class, and then add this object. Yeah, this object from city. Okay, now you take this object from city, you take this object to your action. For adding, you need to click on this plus, and then you select which object you want to add. Okay, got it? Okay, so you come here in your action. Now how you can use this in your action, right? You go there, from city, you bring it here, right? Now from city, right? What now can you see, select what city you want to. If you look at the list, right, if you look at the list, you have London, you have Paris, right? Let's say you want to select Paris. Okay, now you run it. First you do it, make sure that it is working from here, and then you take it to the function class. Now it is saying that verify login window type mismatch, right? Oh, actually we made a mistake here, guys. So verify login window, and then after that this code, right, it will be shift, and you take this one in the next line, right? Now you run it. Can you see it was able to select Paris? Okay, and then you go to your action, create another line, and go to your shared object repository. Remember, your shared object repository is open here, right? Now can you see to city? You bring to city here, you put a to city here. Let's say you put London, right? And then now if you run it, we'll do function name. We'll do first, you make sure that your code is working, and then you take it to the right. So that's how it works. Now if you want to create function for this, what do? You go all the way down and create a function, select, oh, actually function select from city, and then to select from city, you come here, okay. Now you select of this function, select to city, and then you go there, Right? Now if you run it, what will happen? You tell me. Oh, you need to call here. That is correct. See, I made mistake. Got it? Now you run it. Got it? Paris, London. Okay. So, how do you feel? How about everyone? How about Russell? You understand? You understood like Monjima how I did it, right? It's very interesting if you practice it. If you do not practice it, guys, it will be difficult. I'm going to bring these test cases that I sent you, right? Same thing you will be doing in the website. Same way you will be doing it in the website. Yeah. So let me show you. Okay. So let's say this is the one that we did. This is okay, right? So you make sure that your in your computer it is up to this, it is ready. This true test case that you did is ready. Now let me show you a little bit on the website. Okay. Okay. So let me open another test case. Let's say I'm going to name it as Malkari Tours login. Test case 3, let's say. Okay. Now what you need to do for website, right? So if I go to let me see if I have Chrome here, yeah. Or I can use Internet Explorer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you come here. So I in the classroom I saw that some of your in the virtual machine your internet is not working, right? So that's why I started with a GUI application. If you know how to do a GUI application, you'll be able to do an internet application. And if you see that internet is not working in your virtual machine, you can install UFT in your base machine. Okay, so that you can practice this website part, because if you do not have internet, this website part you will not be able to practice. You got it, guys? Okay, so here the site is new tours microfocus enable. Make sure you enable this. License শেষ হয়ে গেলে you have it in the virtual machine. In the virtual machine you can practice, like this is what I'm telling. If internet is not working in your virtual machine, but still you can practice the flight application there, right? So just for web application, if internet doesn't work, then only you install it. Okay, now new tools.demo.com. so this is the link for that website, right? So to open this website, I'm copying the URL and then I'm going there system util dot run, same thing you put it here. Yeah, by default if you do not put anything, it will be opening with Chrome driver, with Internet Explorer. If you want to open it with Chrome, you need to put like something like this. Here you will have to put, let's say, chrome.exe, and then here you put this. Okay, now if you run it, ইনভ্যালিড না, এখানে কোনো সেমিকোলন নাই ভাই। আচ্ছা, এখানে দেখো, আমি যদি ক্রোম না দিয়া এখানে যদি আমি দেই আই এক্সপ্লোর, আমার ক্রোম ইনস্টল নাই, আমি যদি আই এক্সপ্লোর দেই, আই এক্সপ্লোর ডট ইএক্সি, right, can you see Internet Explorer? It has opened this flight application, right? Now, so how you can input username and password, right? Let me show you. It's very straightforward, guys. Let me show you. Let me close this GUI. Now, same way you can create, guys, here can you see, guys, resource, object repository manager, and then can you see object repository manager, repository 1, file, and then can you see save as? You save it, let's say flight new tour, let's say new tours application, right? And then can you see plus, you add this, then click on plus, you add this, click on plus, you add this sign in. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do in my action, yeah, perfect. You can do record and run. I do not prefer record and run specifically because you do not know what you are doing. When you do drag and drop, you know what you are doing. Okay, now you put a username, yeah, drag and drop করছি ভাইয়া, I just drag and drop, automate code one, and password is 5. Now if you run it, let me close this application. So now it is saying that object was not found, right? This is object repository thing. Let me tell you, it is, if you just add the object in the repository, it is not enough. So what you do here, you have to save, right? After saving it, remember you have to click on your action, right click, associate repository with your action, and you will have to associate that repository, otherwise it will not be working. Remember that, guys. Otherwise in the, like, you will be, you know, trying to do it in your home, but it will not be working. So now if you take a look, it will be opening the application. Can you see? You got it? Sure. So let's say that, okay, so if you go there, if you remove this object repository, right? Now if you run your code, it will not work. You have created the shared object repository by going to resources, but you didn't associate that repository to your code. So for that, what you will have to do, you will have to right click on your action associate repository, and then you'll have to do this. Okay, now it will be done. You got it, guys? You got it? Any question? Okay, so one thing to understand here, similar way you can create functions, but can you see browser and then page and then object? So if you go to your shared object repository that is open here, let me make it in that way. Can you see this is your browser? Under the browser you have page. Under the page you have all of these username, password, sign in objects, right? Does it make sense? Understood, guys? Like the object hierarchy, right? These are the child objects. The parent of this child is this page, like how this web object works, right? Again, child objects, and then childs are under a page, and under page is under a browser. Browser, page, and object. Okay, now let me show you. So if you close this, we already have an application open here. Now if you go to your object repository, right, if you highlight this username, right, you can highlight from here. Can you see how which object it is pointing to? Yeah, if you want to do, like, just I'm showing the highlight manually, but you can write the code. Can you see? So is it clear up to this, whatever we did? Now for highlight, what do? You go there. Let's say you want to highlight this username, right? Up to username you copy and then you put dot highlight. Now if you run it, you'll see that you got it? Okay, so I think we did a lot today, right? We did a lot. Now it is your turn, guys. You guys need to come forward. You guys need to practice it. I do not need to practice, guys. I have a lot of work. When I go to work, it's like my head is like spinning always. So you guys need to practice it, and you guys need to come forward and ask me question. You guys need to make sure that you know this. You guys need to make sure that you can talk. And if you do not do it, guys, I cannot go your home and inspect if you are working or not. If you want me to go drive by your home and and look at your window, I cannot do that. So guys, make sure that next class I'm planning to take again online during this Ramadan. Is it better, or you want to come to class? It's okay. So yeah, this Ramadan month I'm going to take online next class as well. But make sure that whatever I did, you do not forget Selenium. You keep practicing the interview question, and whatever you are learning in this Selenium, you are very good. You everything ready on your computer. I'm going to check first. Oh, it's very simple here. So what you do again? You click on your marker tools, add, and here associate. Hold on, no, not associate. So when you are creating the function library from the beginning, right? So what you do, you come here in your solution. Actually, no, don't worry. Can you see there is a add button here? Click on add, and then no, not this add. Hold on. I think we have a, hold on, here. Can you see this new? Click on this new function library. And then in the resources folder, you put a name, let's say a new tools function func. Okay, now this new tool function library is there. Now let's say you say func, and let's say open app, and then what do? You go there, you put it here, and then you call this over there, and then here if you run it, it will not run, it will be a problem. You'll have to do one more step. No, you'll have to associate. You'll have to associate that function library here. By how do you associate function library? Right click and then associate repository. No, right click, see, right click on this and see what you get. You'll have to right click on your, no, to associate repository, you need to right click on action. To associate function library, you need to click on your test, right click on your test and associate function library, and then new tools function library, say yes, and then you will see that for under this folder you have this function library. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I think that's all that I wanted to discuss today. Next class I'll be discussing the interview questions first, so make sure that you are going through interview questions, at least 50 interview questions. First 50 interview questions you are good. Yeah, first 50 interview questions, those we sent previously, right? Make sure that you are good there, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'll be sending you this recording by today, right? And you already have the test case that you need to automate your homework, right? And you have your interview questions homework. Okay, all right, so that's all, guys. I'll be stopping this recording here, and yeah, there is an error here, right? Let me figure out what is this error. Cannot identify the object username. Let me close all of this application. When you have multiple application, this guy will be confused. So now let me run it. Right? Yeah, now it's working. So that's all, guys, and feel free if you have any question. I'm seeing that, you know, I'm busy, but it seems you are 10 times more busier than me. You do not have a time to, okay, I need help here, can you help me? I am not understanding that, can you help me? It seems you guys are 10x time busier than me. So it's good you guys are busy, but if you need this, if you need a job, you need to come back to me, you need to ask me question. If you are not getting something, if you are not, something is not working for you, you need to reach me, guys. I'm not as busy as you, but I have a lot of work to do. I cannot like call you, hey, how is things going on with you? No, it doesn't work like that. You have to come to me if you need anything. And it is a precondition. If you want to get a job, it is a precondition that you poke me always. Brother, I need help here. And a lot of time I might not be able to help you. And this is a precondition as well, that I might not be able to help you a lot of times. Because if you poke me so many times, I might be help you once, but not always. So you start poking me that I need help. Okay. All right. So that's all, guys. We'll talk to you next week. And again, 10 a.m. in the morning, we'll have our, 10 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, everyone. So when you're online, just give me a, say I'm online. Call me and then so that we can start the conversation. All right. Thank you. Bye. 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 Bye.